This is September the 2nd. And Gary just came in and is going to shoot a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about the Batmobile. Andreas and I finished it and completed it. And we had a whole 15 minutes before we had to put it on the trailer and head out for Monterey, Carmel. And so we got it around the block once. So that's not a lot of testing. So what we're doing now is taking care of all the things that we should have taken care of and normally would have had time to take care of, so it would be running good. Now, I, in my vast knowledge of nothing, decided that I didn't really want this big, ugly, half-round piece there, which preheats the gasoline, and it goes from the exhaust manifold, comes over and hooks on to the intake manifold. Well, while we were in Carmel, it was cold, and we would light it up, and it ran terribly for about 15 minutes until it warmed up. And what it was, the gasoline didn't preheat, so it didn't mist, and it was awful. So anyhow, I just had this made, and we were looking at all the stuff and said, wait a minute, my God, we can't use this while it's very hot weather without a butterfly to turn it off. And I'd sold the old car, the old fire truck, to a gentleman in France. We put all the stuff on it. I forgot one little piece. Show him what it is. It's our butterfly, and that's what we need. So we're going to be able to make everything work beautifully. So that's very exciting right there. That just happened as you were here and saw it. Anyhow, you can see this is the Batmobile. It's a 100-year-old American LaFrance fire engine. The engine is very special because it is a Seagrave. There's 3 types and 3 grades of fire trucks. There's more than that, but currently, or up until the last few years, you had 3 different major fire truck builders. One was the Aaron's Fox, which if you've seen them, they're very pronounced because they had this big giant chrome ball on the front, and this is where the water mixed. It would come down and shoot up when they were using the different hoses, and it would come back down and thrash around in there. If it didn't, it would just break the pump all to pieces. They're the most expensive. They're the most pretty lovely ones. The next one in line is the Seagraves, which is very, very heavy-duty fire truck. And it, as you can see, has 6 cylinders, but they have 6 individual blocks for each piston, 4 spark plugs, and they're really just a giant engine. It's 1,013 cubic inches, which puts it at 16 liters for a 6-cylinder. It's a pretty amazing piece. And we installed it in the American LaFrance chassis, which was no easy little deal because, first of all, it's about 500 or 600 pounds more, and it's 5 or 6 inches longer. There's different ways that it's mounted, so we had to modify that. Andreas did all that. He's fantastic with this. And you can see all of the linkage, and that is all custom done, and it all works now. So what we're doing now, we've come back from Pebble Beach. We had a marvelous time. Everybody loved the Batmobile. This is a 100-year-old Batmobile. My neighbor, George Barris, his family lives 8 doors from us. And about a little over a year ago, George was down here, and I told him that we were going to do our last La Bistione, this is it. It's number 7. And we wanted to make it a salute to him, and he thought that was marvelous. In fact, George even gave us one of the Barris signature emblems for it, and he said, put that on it, and I authorize it, which is pretty good. So besides the Barris Batmobiles, we're authorized. Anyway, you can see that it's pretty much a pretty good-looking machine, and it's pretty big. I'm damn near 6 foot, and you can see where I'm at with it. This is a very, very large machine. 3 forward speeds. This is your emergency brake. We have our little siren in case people don't notice us coming in, or the klaxon horn, so we make a hell of a lot of noise. So, we're pretty cool about this. Anyway, you can take a look at it. Come on back. I think the back end on this is just absolutely spectacular. Come and take a look. See what you think. This is all the fins on there. That's all mahogany, and we stained it, and then paint, and then clear coated over it, and so you can see that being a Batmobile, it's got to be black. And then a friend gave us 2 Batman, and I'm having that converted into the black and gold plates now. But what a beautiful bum in on this one, isn't it? Now, if a woman had a bum like that, maybe I'd get married again. I don't know, but I'm sure happy with this one. We have the left front wing, which is literally a wing on this one, off right at the moment. And Andreas is in the midst of cleaning all this area out, and we're fitting our crossover heat exchanger and the water pump. Somebody improved on perfection. So originally they had a cord that would go in, and when your water pump started to leak on the shaft, you would just tighten the nut a little bit, and it would compress the cord, impregnated cord, and it would stop leaking. Well, these things, you have to realize, were all sand cast about 100 years ago, so everything wasn't just absolutely to a micro fit. So they weren't really just that. Tolerances were that good. So that type of a gland packing was really necessary. Well, the people that had this one here, they decided when they had a solid billet crank made for this at an enormous price back in '85, and ran the Great American Race with it, and then decided to run again the next year, and without using this engine. I found it after 30 years. And this is why it's in there, and it's the only one in the world with a solid billet crank. So this is a very, very special one, and that's why we wanted it to be the George Barris special car. And George loved it. I'm just unhappy that he didn't get a chance to see it before he passed on. George was a wonderful man and king of the customizers. I mean, what more can you say? He built the Batmobile, the Barristers, the Munster Coach. Those are the 2 probably most recognizable automobiles in the world. Can you imagine that? It's really, really an amazing thing. So anyhow, we've done all these modifications to make this the way we wanted it, and we thought it'd be in semi-good taste, and I think that George would approve. I know he did. So anyway, this is our little car here. It's only about 120 horsepower, but it's the old horsepower, which means you would tie a rope around 120 horses, pull them over on their back, and pull them away. So it had a lot of torque. And if it could, it would climb a tree. So anyway, this is it. And we just wanted to fill you in on what we were doing. You haven't done any videos for a week and a half, 2 weeks. And the reason is that we've decided that we needed to really clean up the car and take care of all the things that didn't work the way they should have. If it would have, if we'd have had time to do it. Now we have the time to do it. So that's why the wing is off and everything is up, and gives us a chance to make it right.